Okay.
Let's go back to October the 7th, 2023, when the Hamas attacks occurred. George Galloway was here last week, and he described them as terror attacks. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to have this conversation. I've seen you have it with everybody, and it's a waste of time.
Why?
Because you always reach the same conclusions, and you always waste 10 or 12 minutes.
When this is all over, Israel is going to have to apologize, not just to Palestinians, but to the whole of the rest of the world. So we're very sorry. We got it all completely wrong. And we are now leaving to go back to Eastern Europe or the United States or wherever we came from and leave these people, Palestinian people.
Belum lama ini, publik mengetahui bahwa Piers Morgan telah berubah dan mendukung Palestina. Namun, agaknya hal itu mungkin tidak sepenuhnya benar, sebab belum lama ini dalam acaranya, Piers Morgan beradu argumentasi dengan George Roger Waters yang merupakan seorang pemusik rock dan juga ateis berusia 80 tahun yang sangat pro-Palestina. Dalam kesempatan tersebut, Roger Waters menegaskan bahwa semua rakyat Palestina harus memiliki hukum yang sama dengan rakyat Israel.
All Palestinians should have exactly the same human, religious, civil, legal rights as all Israeli Jews. I agree with that. And when that is one unified democratic state that they live in together, with equal human rights for all the citizens of that country, from the River Jordan to the sea, that will be a starting point from which they can all move on, and I hope they do. But it's not for me to say what happened. It's for me to say what I feel about that. Oh my God, I want to be there, standing in that square when that state is declared. I want to be there on that day, to embrace all my brothers and sisters, whether they're Muslim, Druze, agnostic, Christian or Jewish, and whether their nationality was Palestinian or Lebanese or whatever, or Israeli. I want to see them free of the burden of this constant war.
But you talk about a state there, not a two-state.
The two-state solution, everybody.
Roger Waters juga membantah isu yang mengatakan bahwa orang Palestina menolak solusi dua negara dengan mengatakan bahwa hal tersebut adalah kebohongan yang tidak jelas. Selain itu, Piers Morgan juga memutar sebuah klip video satir yang pernah dibuat oleh Roger Waters yang mengatakan bahwa Israel harus pergi dan meminta maaf pada Palestina dan juga dunia, dan mereka orang-orang Israel harus kembali ke asalnya, yakni ke Eropa Timur atau Amerika Serikat.
Well, let me play you a clip. This is from a month ago. This was on your YouTube
It's not George Galloway, is it?
No, it's from your own YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's called Resist the Genocide, and you said this.
When this is all over, Israel is going to have to apologize, not just to Palestinians, but to the whole of the rest of the world. So we're very sorry. We got it all completely wrong. And we are now leaving to go back to Eastern Europe or the United States or wherever we came from and leave these people, Palestinian people whose land this is, to, if they can, rebuild and live in peace.
Roger, my question for you is this. When you say that you need to have the whole world saying, we're very sorry, we got it wrong, we're now leaving, go back to Eastern Europe or the United States or wherever you came from.
Yes.
Do you understand how Israelis feel when they hear that?
Well, it depends which Israelis they are. Most of the people of the world do not want the Israelis to continue in their inexorable course to the end of their extermination of the indigenous people of Palestine. That's all I'm saying. So something has to happen that is not that. So if you say there are two possible alternatives, a two-state solution, and that's been on the table, let us not forget, certainly since the end of the 1967 war. And let's not go back into the old stuff about, oh, well, the Palestinians turned it down. No, they don't. That is a barefaced lie.
Perbincangan menjadi menarik ketika Piers Morgan mengatakan bahwa menurut catatan Mesir kuno, tanah Palestina pada 1500 tahun sebelum Masehi ialah milik orang Israel. Dan dengan tenangnya, Roger Waters yang merupakan seorang ateis pun membantahnya dengan mengatakan bahwa semua hal itu tidak relevan atau tidak ada kaitannya dengan genosida yang terjadi di Gaza saat ini. Selain itu, Piers Morgan memang mengatakan bahwa orang-orang seperti Roger Waters sepakat bahwa Israel melakukan genosida di Gaza.
You and many people share your view that they believe that Israel is perpetrating a genocide on Gaza. And you talk about wanting to eliminate the people of Gaza. But surely that clip that I played, when you talk about the Israelis having to go back to where they come from.
If they could apologise for what they do.
Obviously, no, but Roger, let me ask a question.
Okay.
On that point of wherever you come from, back to Eastern Europe, wherever you come from, to tell 7 million people to go back where they come from, many people would view that as racist, and in the case of Israelis, to be anti-Semitic, something you've been accused of being. Now, do you understand why they would take it that way?
Absolutely, of course I do. We have to remember that most of the population of Israel are young, much younger than me, even younger than you, if such a thing was possible. And they have been pretty well brainwashed into believing that they are superior to the other people who live there. And I have to say, the thing about Eastern Europe or Northeastern Europe and the United States, they've tried to sell us this idea that somehow they are biblical people and that God has given them the land. That's what the Christian evangelicals believe.
Well, look,
all I'm saying is that they're not indigenous people, most of them. There are a few of the Jewish people who are citizens of Israel who are indigenous to the area. But back in the 19th century, that was only 7 or 8% of the population.
Can I respond?
Yes, of course.
So ancient Egyptian records mention Israel from 1213 BC. Religious literature records Israelites as far back as 1500 BC. As far as many Jewish people are concerned, this is where they come from. Right. Within Judaism, Israel is the Holy Land. It's the land where the faith began. Jerusalem is the holy city. For Jews, Jerusalem is at the core of their faith and their world. Now, I believe you're an atheist. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you may not understand or accept that, but that is how millions of people in Israel feel. They believe this is their original holy land. Now, I think that the displacement of the Palestinians back in 1948 was appalling. I also think the simultaneous virtually displacement of many Jewish people from their homes was also appalling. All of it was appalling. And you can create a narrative that would be supportive of both sides and critical of the other sides. But there's no doubting that Jewish people believe this is their holy land too, in the way that many Palestinians do.
I haven't read that book, I admit. And I'm not sure I want to, because I've only got a few years. Well, how many years I've got left is
irrelevant. You're doing better than the President of the United States, aren't you?
I beg your pardon?
You're doing a lot better than the President of the United States.
Yes, I am.
Your mental acuity appears to be much sharper.
Let me finish. All of what you're saying, though, may well be fascinating to historians and Jewish scholars and scholars of other religions, but it's completely irrelevant to the genocide that is going on now in the West Bank and Gaza.
Roger Waters pun mengatakan bahwa Piers Morgan telah membuang-buang waktu 10 menit atau 12 menit dengan selalu saja menanyakan peristiwa tanggal 7 Oktober 2023 lalu kepada para tamunya.
Let's go back to October the 7th, 2023, when the Hamas attacks occurred. George Galloway was here last week, and he described them as terror attacks. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to have this conversation. I've seen you have it with everybody, and it's a waste of time.
Why?
Because you always reach the same conclusions, and you always waste 10 or 12 minutes.
Let's waste 1 minute. All I ever ask people is, do you condemn what Hamas did?
I condemn the killing of civilians, always, whoever does it, wherever it is. I condemn war crime.
Sahabat Aswaja, bagaimana menurut kalian? Apakah jurnalis seperti Piers Morgan ini benar-benar mendukung Palestina saat ini? Coba berikan komentar kalian. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.